Welcome to Sports Communications, topic for the future, a brave new world. This is part 11 where we finalise talking about ambush marketing. There are some marketing defences, some things you can do to ensure that your event partners are actually controlled in their PR around the event. To control the partners, federations, teams, participants, you can decide or determine what they wear, what logos they can wear on their shirts. If you have a look at most governing bodies, there's rules around the size of logos, position, so on and so forth. With licensed broadcasters, you can ensure in your contract that there is no unauthorised advertising, no unauthorised sponsorship, and also just help strike out any Me Too campaigns with just being careful with what's in the contract and what's allowable. Also thinking about sponsors, suppliers and merchandisers, you can help avoid things like unauthorised product extension. If we go back and think about Sachin Tendulkar with all the drinks that he actually endorses, you would need to ensure if your particular event was being sponsored by Gatorade that in actual fact Sachin Tendulkar was prohibited from any unauthorised product extension with his own sponsors. With corporate partnership, you need to ask yourself the question, is the corporate really acting on your behalf? Do you have a really close alliance, and have you really thrashed out all the things that you need to think about? If you have done that, you'll be fine. If you haven't, that's where problems get in. And if you think about the Sydney 2000 Olympics and the London 2012 Olympics, they've done particularly well with ensuring that there hasn't been additional ambush marketing. Also need to think about how this relates to the globalisation challenge, this idea of international, think global, act local mantra. So we have to think about this versus economies of scale. Are we going to have the luxury of continuing our iconic cultural sporting events, or is it likely that it's going to be the really big international media empires and they will take them over? So what will happen to things like rugby, cricket, racing, multisports, rowing or netball if a Chinese media company or an Indian media company ended up ruling the communications world? You have to think about that. What may happen to kapahaka? Would that get on TV? Thinking about local cultural values versus this idea of a homogenised, globally shared pattern of culture. So we need to think about what makes us Kiwi, the black, the silver fern, that quiet pride, number 8, sense of humour. Global advertising is only suitable for certain product categories among kind of similar market segments. So we've got to be quite careful about whether we lose our individual view of culture. Also need to think about local market complexity and specificity. The consumption of global commodity takes place within local settings, so we're only going to enjoy products that actually have some relevance to us, which is actually a good point. So if we make something too homogenous, it disregards the locals and how the locals live. And internationals can get things wrong if we think about pajera, which means bird in Spanish, and Pajero, which is Mitsubishi's four-wheel drive, which means wanker, effectively. Isn't that naughty? Right. Now, things to think about. The act global, think local. So we need to find that tension between media economies of scale. We also need to think about what happens when we ban ads versus how that ad can get out, because as we've mentioned during the course, there have been a number of ads which have been banned but have then gained a certain amount of notoriety and advertised the product without actually having to be on television. That banning an advert these days doesn't actually ban it.